With us now is Victor Avila. He's a former DHS supervisory special agent. He's with us from Southlake, Texas. Victor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Help me understand what usually happens with a complaint like this from a local law enforcement perspective and from a federal perspective when something is referred to the FBI. What typically happens in a situation like this?
When a tip like this comes in, which is a hot tip, because of this individual that has possible bombs in his house, they're always taken seriously, and the due diligence is there to be done. In this case, I understand that the local police department reached out to the FBI to seek for some guidance in that, and I know that there was a welfare check done, or at least an attempt to be done on this individual's property, and nothing came of it. It's unfortunate sometimes that we could, sit here and kind of Monday morning quarterback all of this and see what else could have been done. But there was a welfare check done, at least in this circumstances, where the officers had nothing to go by, no other probable cause, as we call it, to further any investigation at that point.
His girlfriend and the lawyer who had at the time been representing both him and the girlfriend and later broke his representation with the bomber himself, had said there's an RV in the back of his house. He's making bombs. He knows what he's doing. He's working on it now. And they never actually got inside that RV. Does that seem like a lapse in police work to you?
I wouldn't go as far as call it a lapse, but certainly something more could have done, and more further steps could have been taken for sure. One of the key things that I see here is the referral from the local PD to the FBI, that is an alarm right away. That at least they recognize that there's something bigger here than their local department could possibly handle. And in this case, they call the FBI, but they easily could have called ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, to look further into it because it involved explosives.
And I also sort of scratch my head at the FBI response having been, we don't have any records on him, and that sort of being like the end of the road. I mean, if the FBI didn't have any records on him, wouldn't it be natural for them to look for records elsewhere or try a different avenue? I mean, to me, it seems like we don't have any records sort of seems like an unsatisfactory response.
And the key that you're talking about here is something that we're having to look a lot more further into these possible attacks. And what I'm talking about is the lone wolf individuals. And these are the type of clues, if you will, that we look for in law enforcement, and obviously the help from law enforcement. In Department of Homeland Security, we say, if you see something, say something. Right. And in this case, the lawyer did say something, and did alert the authorities. And so this is important for the law enforcement to take these tips seriously and follow up with them.
Well, Victor Avila, I mean, you have great insight in this, great career understanding how this comes together, and I appreciate your perspective on this tonight. You've got an interesting book out, by the way, that covers a lot of what you've learned in your career, Agent Under Fire. Former DHS Supervisory Special Agent Victor Avila, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.